So here's the thing. ChatGPT is a new thing that just has generated a ton of buzz that people know what it is, or they hear ChatGPT, but they have no idea how to use it, myself included, or what it does. But we just proved that ChatGPT could totally convince you to hire Cory Aili. Did we not?
Yeah.
So you're wondering what ChatGPT is, Cory? ChatGPT is a way for you to get more business, because all you got to do is follow that right there. We just agreed with it. I also asked ChatGPT to convince me that a solar install makes sense in Minnesota from a financial perspective. Because I asked it to tell me that it makes sense from an environmental standpoint. And as you can imagine, I got a list of reasons, right? And I don't even think that's debatable. Whereas I think the financial piece can become debatable for a lot of people when we talk about energy, or when we talk about solar panels. And it gave me the following things. One, you have energy savings. According to Energy Sage, the average Minnesota homeowner can save up to $20,000 over 20 years by installing a 5 kW solar panel system. That feels a bit inflated.
Yeah, I'd have to
We'd
think
have to
about
run
this
the
and do
numbers.
run the numbers.
But in general, we just did some math. I don't know how big the solar install was that we talked about previously.
Yeah, that one was a 13 kilowatt system.
So we know for sure a 13 kilowatt system. We came up with some fast math during this podcast that you could save 24,000.
Yeah.
Right? Half of 13 is 7.
Right.
I don't know. It
You
feels
know
a bit inflated, 5 kilowatts for 20,000, but possibly.
But the thing is that's really interesting is with our the power rates have on average with our local utilities here gone up by 2.8% per year over the last 25 years. So we always take your current utility costs, project that to keep moving at 2.8%, which I feel is extremely conservative. And in 25 years from now, it's dang near doubled. It's pretty impressive
using
when you
that
look
math,
at it.
which probably AI did, it probably truly is $20,000.
That's why
right?
it's inflated.
The other thing I thought about when I seen that, Cory, was I know that up here in northern Minnesota, the utility companies are a lot more affordable per kilowatt than they are in the big metro area.
Interesting.
Per kilowatt, right? So I think if you were to use the difference in numbers, possibly, and the population is bigger, so maybe that's why the math came out. But we agree there's energy savings. The second thing they said, how it could make financial sense is government incentives. And here's where AI got it wrong. It said, for example, the federal solar tax credit provides a 26% tax credit. Well, we know that President Biden with Congress, through the Inflation Reduction Act, that is now 30%, right? But it also says Minnesota also offers a solar incentive program called Made in Minnesota Solar Incentive Program, which provides rebates for solar panel installs in Minnesota. Not true. That no longer exists. So be careful, folks, when you're using AI to look for financial incentives. However, true, you do get some government incentives. Just do your research, because that stuff, boy, has that changed. And it constantly is changing.
Yeah, there's one thing that actually gets overlooked that I like to remind folks about is when you're doing a home improvement project, typically your taxable home value increases, right? Well, solar, it doesn't. They're not allowed to increase your taxable home value because of a solar project that you do at your house.
That's fascinating that they can't do that.
Yeah, and then the other thing that they do is you don't pay sales tax, which is pretty huge. It's a 8% savings in our area.
And that didn't come up in this AI that you don't have to pay sales tax on your solar panel costs. So it talked about energy savings, government incentives. Number 3, rising energy costs. Energy costs in Minnesota have been rising over the past few years, and they are expected to continue to increase in the future. By installing solar panels, you can lock in your energy costs and protect yourself against future rate increases. That argument right there, that reason why you should do solar, I find the most compelling.
Yeah, for sure.
It might be because I'm in the energy business,
Yeah.
what I call, right?
Yeah.
We are a significant portion of Wescom's work is in the oil and gas industry, and I see what is happening in that industry. Another big portion of our business is in the shipping and movement of goods, and we have seen right here out of our harbor, we used to export 30 million tons of coal every single year. We're down to 7, and they're
Wow.
slated to close that facility in the next 2 years. Where is all that? What is coal used for? It's to produce power, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where is that going to come from? It's such a huge industry right now, transitioning. And every conference you go to, everywhere you go, they talk about the electrification of the future, and that comes at a serious cost.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying it comes at a serious cost, and the end users are the ones who pay for the end. At the end of the day, we can act like, oh no, we want affordable energy. We want all this stuff, and we're going to make sure that the end user doesn't pay. I'm just calling what the kids call cap. I'm calling cap on that, BS on it, because I'm telling you, I have seen my local utility bill increase in the 20 years of my marriage at exponential rates,
Yeah.
and that is not going away.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what your income level is. I've yet to go apply for power. So I have an apartment in Watford City. I have an apartment in Carlsbad, New Mexico. I have a home here in Duluth. I have 2 homes in Duluth, one a rental property on one utility company, and then my personal home on a different utility company. All 4 of those utility companies, when I applied for my power, never asked me what my household income was.
No.
They didn't care. They
Yeah.
told me what they planned to bill me, and boy, they've been awful generous in what they have billed me. Just saying. So the rise in energy costs, I don't think that's disputable, and I think it's very compelling. Number 4, increased home value. Did you know this? According to the U.S. Department of Energy, homes with solar panels sell for an average of $15,000 more than homes without solar panels.
I didn't know that.
So I went onto the U.S. Department of Energy website and verified that this statistic is actually accurate because, again, artificial intelligence, artificial must be lying.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out it's not. So increased home value. We can legitimately say research shows that home values are more. Number 5, I asked, convince me that a solar install makes sense in Minnesota from a financial perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I agreed, energy savings, government incentives, rising energy costs, and increased home value. But then number 5, it says, environmental benefits. Solar panels generate clean, renewable energy and help reduce your carbon footprint. True, right?
Mm-hmm.
By installing solar panels, you can contribute to a more sustainable future and support efforts to combat climate change. True. Now, climate change, a lot of people dispute. There's some stuff in there. Sustainable, define a lot of solar panels get made overseas, and is it more sustainable or not? But I asked the AI from a financial perspective, and I brought in this environmental benefit. So I thought that was kind of funny. I think
Yeah.
that's a benefit from doing solar. Absolutely. There's an environmental benefit from it, but I
Mhm.
wasn't sure why it answered that way. So I thought AI, again, convinced me a solar install makes sense in Minnesota. Pretty accurate. Energy savings, government incentives, rising energy costs, and increased home value. Oh, and as an aside, you also help out the environment.
Check the boxes.
Are you getting interested in AI?
Yeah, I'm thinking you mentioned something that it can write essays for you and whatnot. Hey.
It could have written this podcast. And here's the thing, Cory. I wondered, is AI going to overtake the need for a Cory? I'm just being honest, right? Because I told you I'm a tightwad, and I look forward to not having to pay you. I'm just kidding. But I was trying to figure out, how successful is it truly? Like, I asked some very poignant questions to it. Why should I put solar on my home? Because these are things that I would ask you if you came to my home. And boy, everything I asked was really actually quite accurate. The problem was it all came with a caveat that was very important. It said you should meet with a local installer who knows the incentives and the rebates and the programs that are applicable to you. Like, why should I put solar on my home? Reduce your electricity bills. Okay, you know me. You can tell me that, but I want you to explain how I'm going to reduce my electricity bill. AI can't do that. So I
Yeah.
think you're safe from a job perspective for that. Increase the value of your home. This particular AI told me that according to a study by the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, homes with solar panels can sell for up to 20% more than homes without them. I had a hard time following that study, whereas the U.S. Department of Energy, I found. So I don't know if that I would go with that one, but
Yeah, on that, I've talked to a few realtors about what solar looks like on a house that's for sale, and they said a handful of years back it was actually a detriment. There's a lot of people who were like, oh, that place has solar, that's trouble, I don't want it. But he said now more and more folks are getting interested in it, and it's becoming a positive thing on a home sale.
It's fascinating that it was a negative. I asked AI, how much money do you save by putting solar on your business facility? And this was another spot where, like, okay, Cory's safe. I don't think AI can replace Cory because it said the amount of money you can save by putting solar on your business facility depends on several factors, including the size of your facility, your location, the amount of sunlight your facility receives, and the cost of electricity in your area. We have done 2 large industrial solar installs. And boy, if we didn't have human interaction determining where to place those things, what the energy savings was going to be, what the costs were, we would have been in a world of hurt. So that's pretty accurate. Depends on several factors why you should put it on your industrial facility. Do you agree with this, though, Cory? It did say, here are some of the ways in which solar energy can save your business money. 1, lower electricity bills.
Oh, certainly.
We agree, right? So just like for a homeowner, business owners, industrial facility owners, pay attention. You can absolutely lower your electricity bills to hundreds of thousands of dollars over the life of the system. 2, tax incentives. Same tax incentives exist for a commercial and industrial facility that do for a residential facility.
Yes. Yep.
Huge tax incentives. 3, rebates and grants. There are serious well, I don't know about the grants so much in Minnesota, but there's rebates available for businesses to participate. And then 4, net metering. Many states offer net metering programs. Well, we know here in Minnesota, they have to, right?
Yep, here and Wisconsin.
And Wisconsin. What were you saying about California? They no longer have to?
They still do, but they are in, it's called net metering 3.0. It's the 3rd step of phasing it out.
Okay. So potentially it could get phased out. But you were saying once you have net metering, they're not allowed to prevent you from having it in the future.
They tried going retroactive with it in California, and that just backfired on them. Not going to happen, so you basically get grandfathered in if you get it done before that gets taken away.
Got it. And then it said 5, increased property values. So it sounds like just like homeowners' facilities are worth more, so are businesses. So sounds like this isn't just for homeowners, guys. This is also for businesses. You can lower electricity bills. You got tax incentives. You got rebates and grants. You got net metering and increased property value. Based on the 2 large solar installs that we have done, makes a ton of sense. What is the average 5 kilowatt? Because here's another thing we dealt with at the home show, right? Going back to kind of the point of this podcast. What are we excited about with the home show coming up? What do we expect out of it? What can people expect to hear from us? I asked, what is the average 5 kilowatt solar panel system cost, including labor and material in Minnesota? Because, Cory, when I stood in that booth, that's what people asked me, right? What's my experience with solar? How much did you pay for it? That was always the next question. Sounds great, Shane, but how much did you pay for your solar system, right?
Right.
Is that something that we can answer on average for people?
Before I like to tell someone how much it costs, I like to show them first what it costs to pay your utility company. How much is that costing you over the next 25 years? But we've done systems as small as, I think it was a 5.4 kilowatt system. That was the smallest one that we've done. And we've done systems that range from $17,000 on up to $400,000. I mean, and you can if you keep going bigger, that number only increases. So it's very scalable.
And I think that's the important piece. It's scalable, right? So for the industrial facility, $400,000 solar system, you're significantly reducing your energy costs, doing something great. There's all kinds of reasons for it. Probably never going to get a residential home that's a $400,000 solar system unless you happen to be one of those multi-billionaires with several buildings on your property. But this is said that generally the cost of a 5 kilowatt solar panel system in Minnesota, including labor and materials, is from $10,000 to $18,000. Based on my quick research of the solar installs we did, that seemed to jive.
Yeah.
It also said that it's important to note that the cost of solar panel systems has decreased significantly in recent years. And I think we can also agree with that. So, knowing what you know now, we started out that we wanted to talk about the home show. We're excited next week, especially for folks to come in. We're going to have a great booth set up. We're going to have all kinds of information for you. But most importantly, just come visit with us. Ask us about solar, why we did it, how we did it, what are our opinions on it. That's what we started out with. I brought in this artificial intelligence to you, and I told you AI says that to have the best home booth, we should do these other items. We feel like we have them.
Yeah.
I also brought forward what AI says about solar and why they should hire Cory. Seems like you checked the box on all those ones. I also asked AI how much it costs. Seems like we agree with that. So, if you're sitting in somebody's house and they says, AI tells me X, are you going to believe them?
I'll believe them that AI tells it, but I'm gonna verify that
That's
it's
awesome.
true. Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what my takeaway was from, not only are we going to have an awesome home show, and I'm really excited to, I wish I could be there every day next week. As you know, I have some travel plans, so it's kind of complicating things, but I'm really looking forward to just sitting down and chatting with people about solar.
Yeah.
Every time I've done it, I've had an awesome conversation.
For sure. Yeah, I look forward to it. And what else are we doing on the home show this year, Shane?
That's the best part, Cory. You're getting up in front of a bunch of people and you're putting on a solar class.
Wait, we're getting up in front of a bunch of people, right?
Yeah, what is there, 4 or 5, 6 different times?
Yeah, we have a few different classes to do. I think there's 5 or 6 different classes we're going to be doing, and it'll be interesting to see how many people are interested in solar. And I think a lot of people have thought about it and wondered about it, and a lot of people have they're just naturally curious about it.
So I think the cool part about, and this was the intent of our solar class, we used to do a monthly solar class at our shop, and the point is to allow people a safe spot to come in and just sit down and learn about solar without any conception that they have to sign a contract or that we're in for a sale. When we do, we've kind of paused those solar classes because the interest waned out. Like we actually had one day on a Saturday where no one showed up, so we decided let's put that on hold. But folks who are curious about solar and what it does and a bit more detailed than what we went over here, they can come to that class, just sit in a chair, and we're not even going to ask them any pointed questions or anything. We're going to explain what solar is, what the energy savings are, why you should do solar, what are some of the considerations you should take into place, and then just leave it, right? And then if they want more information, they can come to our booth. They can go to the competitor's booth. Who cares where they go? I think when we talked about solar a couple of years ago, Cory, I told you that. I just want people to have the right information.
Correct.
And I hope that's what our solar class can do, is give people information.
For sure. Yeah. And don't get unrealistic about it. It's easy to, I even feel that in myself. Sometimes I'll pull a report off our software program and I see what solar actually produces in the area. And sometimes our software program is too optimistic. So I have to dumb it down, throw a tree, project some shade on it, bring it down to something that's realistic.
That's awesome. And I don't think most people know that, right? Like if how do you know that if you haven't went to a solar class to learn about it before you go make this huge investment with some contractor claiming something? Don't do that. Go get some unbiased information, just learn about solar, and then go meet with your contractors and make an informed decision about who's going to do your solar job. And then at the end of the day, hopefully, in 25 years, when you're sitting there and I'm sitting here, hopefully with some additional gray hair, although I don't think I'll have the opportunity to have any gray hair, but we can say we made a good investment.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we'll see how that all shakes out. But
it's looking good so far.
Well, you got 2,800 that I didn't. I'm still jealous. Well, thanks for coming on, Cory. We'll catch up again about solar.
You bet. Thank you, Shane.